Just what is Special Counsel Bob Mueller investigating and why? Our next guest argues the media are getting it all wrong when it comes to the Russia probe. Joining us now from New York with more is former federal prosecutor Andy McCarthy. Andy, I love your columns, period.
Thanks,
but
Laura.
I loved, you're so good, but I loved your most recent one where you raised the question of whether Mueller has even proven or even has a clear sense that Russia hacked into our systems prior to the election. Explain.
Well, Laura, I want to be clear. I'm not questioning the finding of the intelligence community. I would stipulate that Russia had a cyber espionage operation against the 2016 election. But what we all need to focus on is the fact that that is an intelligence judgment. It's a probability. In fact, their report even says the fact that we render a judgment doesn't mean that we could prove it as a matter of fact. And the problem that we have with Mueller's investigation is it's a prosecutorial exercise, which means you have to prove every essential element of the scheme, of the crime, beyond a reasonable doubt to the satisfaction unanimously of 12 jurors. So even if it's okay for the intelligence community, for the sake of protecting the country, to assume that Russia has these operations against our country, doesn't relieve Mueller of the need to prove it beyond a reasonable doubt. I don't think he can. The intelligence report itself says that it would compromise methods and sources of intelligence, so they don't want to make those available. And we know that the FBI never even physically took custody of and did an examination, its own examination of the Democratic National Committee servers, which are the key evidence in the case.
And so, you also point out in your piece that they based the real jump on their investigation when Rod Rosenstein, the Deputy Attorney General, when he basically panicked and called for a special counsel. That's my view. He was like freaking out that the Democrats on Capitol Hill were asking questions. Instead of answering them, he panics and appoints Mueller. But Mueller's basing his investigation with Rosenstein on the contacts with Russia,
right,
which during a campaign, as you point out, that's not a big deal. I mean, most campaigns have some contacts with Russia. It's the second question, which is the operative one.
Yeah, the Clinton campaign and people in it had plenty of contacts with Russia, right? The thing that would make contacts problematic or incriminating is if they indicated complicity in an actual espionage scheme. But you never even get there until you can prove the espionage in the first place, and I just don't think he can.
Andy, let's go to Peter Strzok, Jenny Rhee, Andrew Weissman. Questions raised about other people within the FBI lately about their ability to be truly objective in looking at this investigation. To my eye, we have a lot of individuals who are, they're not just Democrats. They are Trump adversaries, right, both in their previous associations and in their, texts or tweets or commentary during debates and so forth. You sort of have the jury's out for you on Peter Strzok. Why?
Well, because as I understand it, and as Comey testified to a closed session, according to the Wall Street Journal, as then FBI Director Comey testified to a closed session of the House Intelligence Committee in March, the reason they hadn't brought any case against Flynn at that point was because the agents who interviewed him believed him, and that was Strzok. So, the fact that Flynn ended up pleading guilty to lying in that interview was not Strzok's idea. Evidently, Strzok wasn't pushing that. That was the very aggressive Mueller investigators toward the end. So I just want to see all the facts on him come in, Laura. But I think your general point about Mueller's poor judgment in larding this ridiculously inflated 17-lawyer team with Democratic donors and activists is not only a big problem for the integrity of the investigation. I think we're ultimately going to find that the real collusion story of the 2016 election was the way that the Obama administration put the law enforcement and intelligence arms of the administration in the service of the Clinton campaign. And a lot of these Mueller lawyers come from the top levels of the Obama Justice Department.
Yeah, running divisions or
right,
previously representing Ben Rhodes when he was testifying or being interviewed by the House Intel Committee, representing the Clinton Foundation, as Jenny Rhee did. I mean, this is like a Venn diagram that is scary for me personally. Andy, it's great to have you on.